What steps are you taking? My name's Todd, tax attorney, CPA, and certified financial planner. What steps are you taking to have that safe and secure retirement? Last session, we were talking about making the analysis to make sure that you are on track, that you are saving enough money to have that safe and secure retirement. One of the things we wanted to address was the sequence of return risk. A lot of individuals will come in and they've been on these online calculators and they will have a 7% annualized return, or they sometimes fudge it and say, wow, if I get 9.5% rate of return, I'm all great. Well, we all know that the stock market is a volatile area. We're all used to these double-digit rates of return. But what happens if you start retirement and the market goes flat, or the market has 3 down years in a row? Well, I'm here to tell you those first 5 years of retirement are very critical in your planning on how you're going to sustain if the market has a decline for, let's say, 2 years, 3 years. Because then your investment portfolio is down and you are withdrawing the capital at a ever increasing rate. So we got to make sure that you're okay with that. And again, that is the sequence of return risk that all individuals must address. And think about this, 10,000 individuals are turning the age of 65 for the next 11 years. 10,000 per day. Not per month, it is per day for the next 11 years. Now that's going to have an incredible burden on the healthcare system. That's number one. Number two, we got to figure out where all these individuals are going to live, because we're not going to be able to be in these McMansions with these staircases that individuals cannot transgress because of bad hips, bad knees, and the house is just too big for 1 or 2 individuals. So again, we have 10,000 individuals that are going to become the age of 65 that are every single day for the next 11 years. That is going to have a profound impact on a lot of different sectors, a lot of different industries, and that is a demographic change, a demographic influence that's going to transpire. So again, how are you taking steps to position yourself to take advantage of that change in the environment? And guess what? Because they're savers, these are the baby boomers that are retiring, and there has been this transition of wealth that has been happening. The old timers, the ones that went through the Depression, are passing away, and they were super savers, and they're passing money down to this baby boomer generation. So this baby boomer generation, or as a listener here on the Professional Edge, we have the duty. It's a double-edged sword. One, we have to plan for 20 years in retirement. But then on the other side, we have to plan for 20 years in retirement. That's why it's a double-edged sword. We can look forward to 20 years in retirement, but we have to make sure that we don't run out of money before we run out of time underneath that 20-year scenario. It is not get the lazy boy and pass away within 4 years date of our retirement. So now we have to make sure and we have to plan for that. So what is the next step that you need to take is to why don't you sit down and plan this out with a professional, because I'm sure you don't want to leave your safe and secure retirement to chance. So therefore, have a professional look at things. You wouldn't think yourself, if you had a cavity, to run down to the Home Depot and get a Dremel high-speed drill and some solder and drill and fill your own cavity. But for some reason, everyone thinks that they can do their own investment advisory and they don't need the help of a professional or tax advice, and they're just going to wing it. Well, that's 20 years of winging it, and you have to also ask is, what steps will you take if you are the one making the money decisions, the investment decisions, and something happens to you? What is that surviving spouse going to do? And that's where a relationship with a registered investment advisor is going to help out your surviving spouse. Now, I know some of you might be sitting around the table at the what I call the conference table, Golden Arches, and you know exactly who I'm talking about. You see them, there's 6 of them, and the elder on there is considered the investment guru because he's been there, done that, and therefore they all look to what the oldest one in the group has done with his investments. And everyone follows suit. Well, that may not necessarily be the right case or the right manner, and I sure hope you're not doing that. You're all smiling if you're sitting there at the Golden Arches around the conference table, drinking that coffee and having the conversation on your investments and your tax planning and things like that. So again, get a professional involved, have a conversation, and the way to start that is 877-654-9798, 877-654-9798. That's the first step to take, is to have a licensed professional, somebody that does this for a living, see if they can add value to your current situation, because we're not talking about changing things dramatically. Because if we get a 2% difference in return over the next 20 years, that is substantial dollars. For example, on a $100,000 account, a 2% change in difference could be north of $300,000 in investment rate of return difference, the net amount to you. Just like having a lot of money in a CD, individuals were worried about the stock market, and lo and behold, we're hitting new time highs. Well, is it time to invest? The answer depends on your time horizon, because if you still have 10 more years, today's high may be tomorrow's lower value, because tomorrow might even be even higher. So again, the steps to take is to put your plan in place, sit down with a professional and see, are you actually having a better return on your capital than what you should be, number one. And if you are, then that you are taking too much risk. That is a determinant of what you need to be doing. And number two, you might not have to take that amount of risk if you make the analysis, because everything's copacetic, everything's fine. If you run the math, everything's good. So therefore, you don't need that much risk, because we know with risk, there comes reward, but there also is a downside. There can be a huge punishment if things correct. So again, to start that conversation, give our office a call at 877-654-9798. That number again, 877-654-9798. What's the next step you need to take? Well, let's do some tax planning. We all have put our tax files away and we think everything's good, copacetic, and we're going to start planning our taxes next year. When we get our 1099s, that's going to be January, February of 2022, when we start doing our 2021 taxes. Well, here's the wake-up call. The first step you need to take is to plan your taxes during the year. That's number one. And number two, how can we plan our taxes? Well, it's easy. If an individual has the ability to have some earned income, and you may say, you know what, I'm going to hire someone to do some things inside the household, and therefore they have earned income. And if they have earned income, then they can make that Roth contribution. Again, I don't want you to put on that orange jumpsuit and join you behind those cold steel bars. But if there is a legitimate earned income, then the individual becomes qualified to contribute to a Roth IRA. Question always comes in is, if grandma gives grandson $10,000, can they put that in the Roth IRA? Well, being a listener here on the Professional Edge, we all know that no. The answer is no. If the grandchild doesn't have any earned income, then they're ineligible to make that Roth contribution. So that's where grandson needs to be mowing some yards and needs to be doing some things to earn $6,000. So if grandma gives that 10 grand, but there is earned income of that $6,000, then they can make a full Roth contribution to their account. So again, that's another thing that you need to look is, are we maximizing the tax structure? And those are steps to be taken as well. It's tax planning. So if we send less off to the IRS, that means there's more in your household, and therefore you would have more to invest towards that safe and secure retirement. Again, a great place to start or look at, or a step to take, is visit emcthebundle.com. That is Echo Mary Charlie, thebundle.com. Echo Mary Charlie, emcthebundle.com. So what's your next step that you need to take? Well, the next step that you need to take is tax planning. So what's another step that we can do for tax planning? Well, on your personal return, we know that an individual can deduct up to the amount of at risk on business losses. Not a hobby, but a business loss. So a hobby cannot actually generate a tax deductible loss. Didn't know that, did you? So what do? We change over from a hobby to a business. Now, there are some technical requirements that the IRS likes to have you have in place when we change from a hobby to a valid business. And therefore, when we have this valid business, we can actually generate a tax loss. So in that tax loss, we can actually take that loss to the amount of at risk and deduct that from your W-2 earnings. So the one spouse is working, has a W-2, you have a W-2, so you're an employee as well, but you have this side hustle and therefore you're just getting started. You're bad at business to begin with. That's okay. It's going to help you out tax-wise because the negative on that is going to be allowed to be taken against your W-2. And therefore, it actually reduces down your taxable income, and therefore, you're going to remit less to the Internal Revenue Service. So that right there, being a tax attorney and a CPA might save you a little bit of money. And that's the next step to take is when have you done tax planning? Some individuals, it's very hard to do. They may be a W-2 employee. They may rent where they're currently at. They may have sold their home. That's another tax plan that you might want to put in place is selling your home. It's a red hot market right now. And the tax code, the way it is right now, married filing joint can exclude $500,000. Yes, that's right. $500,000 of gain. So if you bought the home for $250,000 and you sell it for $750,000, you've had your principal primary residence there 2 of the last 5 years, not sequential. Doesn't have to be sequential, but last 2 out of 5 years. Then we could exclude up to $500,000 of gain. That's right. Put that in your pocket. Don't send any to the Internal Revenue Service. But if you're single, that number drops to $250,000. So if you're single, you're handy. Wouldn't that be a great tax plan? That's a step to take. Go in, buy a house, rehab it, redo it, put in a new kitchen, new bathroom, maybe new floors, new roof, landscaping. Yeah, it's called sweat equity if you're going to do it yourself. And then at that point, you can sell it. Let's say you make $200,000. That's $200,000 income tax free. You do that 5 times over the course of your life. Let's say from age 25 to 35, you do it 5 times. Yes, you can do it 5 times because 2 out of 5 years. That's what we have to get time-wise for this to work. Then we can actually put $1 million away tax-free. That's pretty incredible, right? So you make $1 million and it's income tax-free. It's one of the great unknowns, but unfortunately, the step that you have to take is you, have to occupy that as your principal primary residence 2 of the last 5 years, and then you can exclude this $250,000. So that's a step to take. It's unconventional, but it is a step that you can take and have this $250,000 or $500,000 come to you income tax free. So again, there's other strategies or steps you can take to minimize your taxes or to produce tax-free income. To have that conversation, give our office a call at 877-654-9798. That number again, 877-654-9798. The other place or step you want to go to is emcthebundle.com. That is Echo Mary Charlie, thebundle.com. That's where we put this all together for listeners here on the Professional Edge. We've combined and we will implement your estate plan. We will also do your retirement income analysis, and the final thing would be your tax planning strategy. All that combined at emcthebundle.com. So again, my name's Todd. I'm a tax attorney, CPA, and certified financial planner. And the little unknown is I'm an adjunct professor at the University of Georgia. Go Dogs. I teach income tax planning. I've taught estate planning in the past. So again, I understand what I'm doing. I've done over 2,500 estate plans. and we manage north of a large number. You can see that on the SEC website. But again, it's not here to brag. We help individual listeners on the professional edge get to that safe and secure retirement. So again, steps to take, give our office a call at 877-654-9798. That number again, 877-654-9798. Look forward to speaking with you.
We've all thought about it. Everyone listening will need one. Not having one can cause untold heartache, family conflict escalating to the point of a lawsuit. One simple thing that avoids all that: an effective estate plan. As a practicing tax attorney, Todd with Estate Management Counselors has completed over 1,000 estate plans during his 15 years of professional practice. He can help you implement an effective estate plan, coordinate your financial accounts, and make sure you have named the proper beneficiaries to maximize your tax savings. Call 877-654-9798 today and let tax attorney Todd help you implement an effective estate plan. Call 877-654-9798 today. As a tax attorney CPA for over 15 years, Todd has implemented over 1,000 individual estate plans. He has recently authored an especially helpful guide, How to Unlock the Ultimate Estate Plan. This guide has helped many individuals to understand the benefits of an estate plan and how to avoid unintended disasters. has made every attempt to write this in plain English. To receive this valuable guide, How to Unlock the Ultimate Estate Plan, call 1-877-654-9798 and request your complimentary copy today, or by emailing your request to info@emcadvisors.net.